Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Chris. Today's video is all about perfumes that have a light and airy quality. Listen, there's a time and a place for all sorts of perfumes. Beast mode fragrances, I know they're really popular, but they don't work in every situation. And sometimes lighter, fluffier, more airy perfumes that aren't as strong and beast mode are actually more versatile, and I find that I can wear them in more situations. And I've actually had a lot of people ask me to do this video. I did something similar about 2 years ago. I thought it would get like 0 views, and it was actually quite popular. So I know a lot of you out there do enjoy fragrances that are on the lighter side, that are on the more quiet side, more appropriate for work, maybe large gatherings, that kind of a thing. So those are the fragrances I will be talking about today. So the first perfume I'm going to start off with is a fragrance that I have loved for years. It is, I would call this a clean, musky sandalwood. This is called Nothing But Sea and Sky, and you can tell I do enjoy it by the dent. This is a very clean, very airy, very fresh sandalwood that is lifted with a very clean, light, fluffy, cloud-like musk and a little bit of freshness from citrus, maybe bergamot. It's been one of my go-to light, airy, cloud-like, fluffy fragrances for many years during the cold weather, during the hot weather, but I particularly like to wear it in the summer because it is so light and so fresh. A lot of sandalwood perfumes kind of weigh you down. They're very heavy, but this is very light, almost like driftwood on the beach. Because it is on the lighter side, I find that it does not last forever, but I don't mind. But I can get at least a half day, and I never feel weighed down with this. It's just fresh, light, and pretty. Another very pretty musky perfume, it's a floral musky perfume. This is by Micallef, and this is called Pure Extreme Nectar. It's very confusing. There's a Pure Extreme, and honestly, I've never tried that, but I did look at the notes, and they are very similar. So I'm gonna talk about my experience with Pure Nectar Extreme, which is a beautiful, light floral perfume with an elegant, soft, light musk. Now, I know the florals in here, there's rose and magnolia, maybe a little bit of jasmine, but I definitely get more magnolia. And magnolia is a very easy to like white flower, in my opinion. It never gets too heavy, it's never too indolic. It's light and often has like a lemony nuance. Now, I do think that in the opening, I do get a little bit more rose, but the rose is very light and dewy. It's more like a tea rose. I would call this a tea rose. Very pretty, very easy to like. And it has a very gentle ambery sweetness. It's not sweet, but just enough ambery sweetness that keeps it out of the soapy zone. This is clean and fresh, but it's not soapy, and just very elegant. I feel like it's just very Parisian. This could definitely be somebody's signature scent. Very work friendly. I've worn this to work before, so it's kind of comical I'm doing light and airy fragrances today as it is storming outside my window. But the next ones I'm going to go for are really, I think, kind of elegant, light and airy and fluffy fragrances. This one is this is Trajan by Electimus. This is for people who really do love the Baccarat vibe, but are looking for something a little bit fresher, maybe a little bit more citrusy, just to change, maybe not quite as sweet. I absolutely love this one. It does have that vibe, it has that Baccarat vibe, but it doesn't have that ethyl maltol, it doesn't have that spun sugar sweetness. It's got some really bright, fresh citruses. I want to say orange or blood orange. It's got a little bit of lavender, a little bit of aromatics, and like lavender, maybe thyme or sage, very much in the background. I think the lavender is just a little bit more prominent than the other aromatics. It gives it just a little bit of cleanness, freshness. Now, unlike Baccarat, this thing is not a beast. Like I say, it's light, it's airy. It is perfect for gatherings. This is one of my go-to fragrances for gatherings, or birthday parties, when I'm gonna be, in a big crowd. Maybe we'll be eating, because it's not super loud, it's not offensive, but people can smell it when they come in. Like when they give me a hug, they'll say, "Oh, you smell so good. What are you wearing?" Always, and it's usually Trajan. The next one is a very elegant, powdery, floral fragrance that has a nice light airiness to it. This is Cafe Chantant. Now, I would describe this as a vanillic, powdery floral with like a dash of cherry. So this is as close as anything I've ever smelled to Cuir Beluga, which is one of my favorite perfumes. It's a very elegant perfume that I love in my collection. This is similar to it. There are a lot of similarities. This one has cherry and heliotrope, so it's more powdery. It's got a little bit of a cherry edge. Cuir Beluga has aldehydes up top. There's suede. There's a little bit of tangerine. Cuir Beluga has a density to it. I think that's a little bit more vanillic, and it just has a density to it. It's just a little bit more heavy. Whereas Cafe Chantant, maybe it's because of the heliotrope, has a lightness to it. Has a lightness, has an airiness, has a nice powderiness to it. Oh, it's so pretty. It definitely has a vanillic sweetness in here, but it's not overly sweet and it's not gourmand. And it's got a little bit of iris flare. There's a little bit of iris there in the background. So absolutely beautiful fragrance. Okay, the next beautiful, light, airy fragrance that I'm loving, and I do not know how I'm gonna avoid a full bottle, is called Queening. I gotta spray it, it smells so good. And this is by Mind Games. I thought Sissa was gonna be my next full bottle, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Queening. This is so addictive. I like this more and more. The more I wear this, the more I love it. It's a very fresh fragrance. I think the main note is cotton flower or cotton blossom, which is a fantasy note. And it is supposed to give fragrances a lightness, an airiness, a little bit of a powderiness. I think it adds just a little bit of a kind of a clean freshness to it. There's a little bit of apple at the top, so a little bit of a fresh, light apple. I do get like a green evergreen. I want to say it's cypress. I do get a little bit of that in the beginning, and it goes nicely with the apple. Very fresh, very clean, very crisp. That kind of fades. The cotton blossom stays, and there's a little bit of coconut or coconut powder in here, which goes so nicely, and there's vanilla. This really is a vanillic perfume with a beautiful cotton flower, fluffy softness, a little bit of muskiness, a little bit of fruitiness. It's just so addictive. The vanilla in here is soft, but it's definitely present and non-gourmand, and maybe because it has that cotton flower, a little bit of musk, a little bit of freshness with the woods and the green apple. But this is 100% signature scent worthy. I could see someone easily having this as their signature scent. It's so beautiful. Another beautiful, light, ethereal, musky perfume that I find quite addictive is Apollonia by Xerjoff. Now this is supposed to smell like moon dust, and I definitely get a quiet, powdery, addictive kind of an iris, a powdery, musky iris. I also get this little bit of a blueberry softness in here. I know blueberry is not part of the note profile, but there's something about it, like a blueberry, like a dusty, dehydrated blueberry powder that you would dust on an iris, almost like a blueberry scone mixture. It's very powdery, it's very dusty. I get that in here. So it's heading into the gourmand direction just a little bit, but it never gets there. It stays a dry, powdery iris fragrance with musk that is so, so pretty. And I do get that backdrop of a dusty, blueberry, powdery nuance. This one again is soft, light. Another one I love to wear to work. Very, very work appropriate. You're not going to offend anyone, but you're going to have this nice little tight scent bubble. I just find this super, super addictive. I love it. Okay, next I have some really light and airy gourmand fragrances. The first one is a beautiful, light and airy vanilla perfume. It's Vaniglia del Madagascar. This is a vanillic whipped cream fragrance with a little bit of soft florals, and the flowers in here are lily of the valley, but they're very, very soft. Lily of the Valley can often, overtake a fragrance, make it a little bit green, a little bit screechy. I personally love Lily of the Valley, but I think it is a polarizing note. So the florals in here are just very, very subtle. It really is a soft, airy, powdery, very cloud-like vanillic perfume with this beautiful, like airy whipped cream and a very, very soft floral. I think this is absolutely delicious. It is light and sweet, not too gourmand, but definitely it falls in the gourmand category because it is really light and airy and fluffy. You could wear this in crowds and at work, but I usually do not. So another beautiful light and airy gourmand that I found over a year ago, I don't even think I've talked about it. Maybe I talked about it in my cleanly formulated fragrances. This is a cleanly formulated fragrance. It's called Dulce by Rosie Jane. Now, if you thought that Bianca Latte was too heavy, this is a toned down version with a little bit of extra. So this is a beautiful vanilla perfume, but it has a little bit of chocolate. It has a hinoki note. I really do not get that, thankfully. I think too heavy of a hinoki would have really kind of ruined this perfume. This is a beautiful, light, airy, cloud-like, soft, vanillic gourmand perfume with a subtle touch of chocolate. It's not sticky sweet at all, but it still has a sweetness. It's almost like light ice cream, like light vanilla ice cream or low calorie vanilla ice cream, maybe vanilla gelato. This is like if you took Bianca Latte, really thinned it out, really diluted it. Maybe you added a little bit of that Choco Musk. You would come close to this. Very, very nice, particularly if you're looking for a cleanly formulated or vegan fragrance. The next perfume is a flanker of Flowerbomb, and it smells nothing like the original Flowerbomb. I think Flowerbomb smells great, but this is called Flowerbomb Dew, and the notes between this and the original Flowerbomb are also completely different. This is a very light, ethereal, musky iris perfume. It's very, very powdery from the iris. It's very, very musky. It's very, very light. If there's patchouli in here, it's really, really toned down, and it doesn't have the same flowers as Flowerbomb, which to me has a really nice, light, syrupy sweetness. This one is also not nearly as strong. It's fresh, it's light. It does have a subtle sweetness, which is from pear, but it's very, very light. And so I also get a little bit of rose in here. So iris and rose are the main florals. Iris is much more prominent, gives it a nice, light, powdery feel, a little bit of pear sweetness, lots of musk, very, very light. I find this is a really nice, calming nighttime fragrance. It's very, very pretty. The next one is actually one from Victoria's Secret, and so this is called Victoria's Secret Tease Cream Cloud. So perfect for this video, cloud-like fragrances. I picked this up because it has a note of meringue, but it's really a very soft, light, musky, cloud-like vanilla perfume. So it's vanilla, it's meringue, it's got musk. This one does have some gentle florals in the background. So if you're looking for a straight up gourmand, because you see the notes, you see that vanilla, you see that meringue, you have to at least accept a little bit of florals, because I do detect flowers. I would guess probably freesia could have other flowers, maybe jasmine. They're soft and they're in the background. And the name is just perfect. It's very cloud-like, but it is creamy and soft and sweet. And it would be a straight-up gourmand if it wasn't for those, soft flowers and the musk. I actually wore this to work yesterday, and it lasted all day, although at the end of the day, it was very quiet. And I sprayed about 5 to 10 times. So if you spray on clothes, it's going to last longer, but a beautiful fragrance. The next one is a Quentin Biche hidden gem that I haven't heard a single person talk about. I do think it's a hidden gem, and it's Tillel. Oh, shoot. Tillel. Okay. Which I think means linden blossom in French, you would think. I would look that up. I did not. That's what I think it means. Yeah, it's not honey, so it must be linden blossom. This is a beautiful perfume that will be great in the warmer weather. It is a linden blossom forward fragrance, and I used to have a linden blossom tree in front of my house. They're very soft, they're very light, but they have a kind of a lime and a honey nuance. So they smell a little bit like lime and sweet, a little bit sweetened with honey. This also, I'm pretty sure, has added honey to it, or maybe honeycomb. It has a very light, gentle, honeyed sweetness. I even smell a little bit of mimosa. I looked up the notes. There's no mimosa in here, but I do get this light, slight yellowed floral nuance and even a little bit of honeysuckle. It's a beautiful honeyed floral that is sweet, but it's not overly sweet. And one of the very few honeyed fragrances, or fragrances that has honey, that would be very easy to wear in the hot weather. It's very light, fresh, cloud-like, and airy. It's beautiful. The next one is a beautiful fragrance called Mellow Musk. Now this is a gourmand fragrance despite its name. I completely forgot to put this in my coconut video. This would have been perfect in my coconut video because this is the lightest, airiest, fluffiest coconut vanilla ice cream fragrance. It is so, so good. It's almost like gelato. It's whipped. It's beautiful, light, and has a really nice, subtle, gentle fruity sweetness from peach. There's no mistaking that this is a gourmand, so the name is a little bit misleading. It does have a little bit of musk in here, but really the main players are, it's vanillic, it's very sweet, has a little bit of peachy sweetness. I guess it's because it's so light and airy and sweet, you could get away with this maybe in crowds. Maybe this could be a work appropriate gourmand fragrance. I personally wouldn't wear it, but I do think it's absolutely beautiful. And the last fragrance I have, I wanted to make sure I had a really budget-friendly option, even though not all of these are super expensive. They kind of cover the range of prices. The next one is called Vanille by Outremer, and this is like $20. I'm looking at the price tag on the back. I got this for $20, and this is basically vanilla and cotton candy. But it has a very light airiness to it. It's very, very light. I found that this is very light, but it lasts all day. And it has a really nice sillage, but it's not like sweet cotton candy, thick cotton candy or vanilla in your face. It has a very light, airy sillage that I have gotten complimented on many, many times. So it's very, very simple. It's very simple and fairly linear, but a great perfume for $20 in my opinion. So that's it. My light, airy, fluffy, cotton-like fragrances that I love to wear because they're so versatile. There's a time and a place for all fragrances. There's a time and a place for beast mode fragrances, you know, those perfumes that you will be detected before you walk in the door, and I do enjoy those fragrances in certain situations. But for the most part, these light and airy perfumes are much more wearable to me and versatile. So if I didn't mention one of your favorite light and airy cloud-like fragrances, I think we would all love it if you would let us know down in the comments below. And if you have been enjoying my content, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to my channel and join my YouTube family. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.